Hi everyone and welcome to our latest edition of the Impact Room. Today we're joined with a guy that I've worked with a few times in the recent years, Chris Middlemass, who is now the Director of Service at Purplebricks and has previously worked with brands such as Domestic and General, where he was there for a number of years doing different roles. So hello Chris, how are you today?
All right, Craig, thank you. Yeah, all good, all good.
Good. Yeah, so thanks for joining us today. So obviously we'll get started with the questions, and the first question that we always get started with is what's your favourite travel destination and why?
My favourite travel destination is a place called La Cala. It's in the south of Spain. It's where we've been on a few family holidays, and it's where me and my wife are looking to retire to one day into the sunshine. Beautiful old fishing village. It's a bit more commercial now, but there's lots of these little boats on the beach that coal fires, cooking the fish directly from the sea. Absolutely picturesque.
Sounds lovely. We've had the Greek islands a few times, so we're not getting too far away from them. But yeah, sounds brilliant. So
I was on a plane.
That's it. So, Chris, I don't know if you don't mind giving us a quick elevator pitch, really, and just describe yourself in a couple of sentences and what you do.
So I probably would say, from my point of view, if I was to describe myself, I'm absolutely authentic. So very much, what you see is what you get with me. People focused, driven, really capable of helping creation of a strategy, but then actually executing the strategy off the back of it. And I've got a proven track record of doing that on several occasions. And for me, I like to do things through my people.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah. And what do you see as the biggest opportunity within your skill set and sector at the moment?
So the biggest opportunity I would definitely say is automation, and that isn't necessarily to strip roles away. There's a huge amount of automation we can do within. So if I look at the business I'm currently at, but also the previous business I've worked with, any of the outsourced partners I've also been fortunate enough to work alongside, there's a huge amount of tasks now that can be done via AI or robotics that presents itself, then the opportunity for the human interaction to be like the more complex activities and even partial journeys being done by automation would be where I think the focus for me in the sort of the next 12 to 18 months will be.
Great stuff. And obviously, as we mentioned at the start, you've progressed, right through at Domestic and General, through planning, operations, and obviously now as a director of service. I mean, what one piece of advice would you give to anyone wanting to progress their career in customer service and planning?
So I'll probably go back. Probably unlike, obviously, we met through my sort of association with planning. I think it's probably the opposite way around to a lot of people that do planning. So I came to planning quite late in my career. I'd done a substantial amount of time as an operational leader and then took the planning role as a leadership role. I would give anyone advice, certainly who contact centres, right, are an accidental career. It's not something, and I've said this to loads of people. I did a talk with a sort of group of sort of young and employed people a few weeks ago. It really is an accidental career. You don't sit in the careers advice at school saying I want to be a contact centre agent. What you end up doing when you arrive in a contact centre is it can be a springboard for loads and loads of different opportunities. So it's an amazing place to be. And if I was to speak to the young Chris, I'd say probably take a few more chances, be a bit more, grab different opportunities that come along. But take that career path, go and do the things that you want to do. And the brilliant thing about contact centres, you've got your linear sort of operational line you can go in. You can go into a planning role. You can go into learning and development. There's human resources, and there's digital. There's just a huge avenue and alleyway of opportunities that I'd say to any contact centre agent out there now that wants to get a career. There is just so many opportunities. Don't just think that it's just team leader, ops leader. You can go across the spectrum.
That's really interesting. Say you got your planning, your data, your operations, IT, digital. You know, there are their own little mini businesses in their own way, aren't they? Concept really, really great. Yeah, no, clever, good piece of advice. Fine. So obviously, what would you say was your biggest career break? And obviously, this is a time if there is anyone else you want to thank out there.
Yeah, I've had a few, to be fair. So if I look at back, my first sort of boss that probably gave me the kick I needed. So a lady called Debbie Martin. So she more like, if you want to progress, you need to knuckle down. Because I think I'd got to the point where I'd started, and like I was young at the time, and she could see a bit, the talent in me, but I just wasn't taking things seriously. And it's a conversation I've had with loads of people subsequent as well about them. I'd probably then, spend some time going through the operational teams. I think there's a couple of other people. Alan, who took me to Purplebricks, and I worked with him previously at D&G. I think the one person that probably has sort of put me on the career path and gave me the direction I needed at the right moment, at the right time, was a guy called David Davis. So big shout out to David. I think, genuinely, I was in the right place at the right time. He needed somebody that knew the business, somebody that was a bit switched on, which hopefully I ticked both of those boxes. And then he invested an awful lot of time in me, and me asking some quite daft questions, I seem to recall, around planning, because it really was sort of 10, 15 years into a career, almost then going behind the curtain into the planning world and seeing that, wow, this is a you think as an operational leader you do know it, and you actually genuinely, until you go and sit in the planning team and do planning, you don't really get it at all. And I would say one bit of advice to any operational leader that wants to kind of move through the ranks, go and spend some time in the planning function. Even if you can't do it as a day job, make it part of your personal development to go and spend X amount of time a week or a month with the planning team to really get to know the forecasting, how your business forecasts its demand, how you schedule, how you can really positively impact the schedule, and then not forgetting the guys at the back in the real time function and how they operate. And like I say, David, I've worked with some wonderful leaders. David sort of like pushed me on a different career trajectory that I think I'm sat here today because of that.
That's really interesting about getting that view of planning from an operation perspective. And I know this is something we've discussed with planning leaders about actually they should probably get more involved with operations as well to understand where they're coming from. It's great saying you need this many FTE, but is that possible every time in operations with stuff that goes on in an operation perspective?
Yeah, it's getting that balance between the two parts. That everyone, you've got start with the intent that everyone comes to do a great job, and then education and getting people to understand each other's worlds is the kind of thing that will make or break your operation.
Yeah, great stuff. And obviously, just as a final, I mean, what inspires you? What do you enjoy and why within the?
I love to see the people around me grow and develop. I genuinely feel really privileged to be part of the team. I'm at Purplebricks now. They're sort of like, I've been with them a year. The journey we've been on, it's been a really, really difficult, tough year for everybody. The housing industry is extremely volatile, but the way the guys have responded, the team are amazing, and watching them grow and develop is the thing that inspires me. It's what gets me out of bed every day. It's what really gets me motivated to do a great job. So I thank everyone I work with at the moment. They're absolutely amazing.
No, great stuff. No, well, that's it. I say great. Thanks very much. To say it was great to learn about yourself and to learn about the journey you've been on. It's quite an exciting journey, really. Hopefully, it inspires more. But obviously, just finally, I'll say you have worked with myself at Douglas Jackson previously in numbers of roles. I mean, if you don't mind, would you be able to share kind of a little bit of your experience of working with myself and Douglas Jackson as a company?
Yeah, what I would say is you guys, certainly from first introduced to you from a planning point of view, I like the personal approach. you know, Perry, definitely you're quite happy to pick up, have a conversation. I think you've always kept in touch even when we've not been recruiting, you know, and understanding my people and also the labour market that we operate in. You know, and I would say, and this is a whole thing, what I do find the whole planning recruitment side of things, as a community as well, everybody seems to be super helpful and looking at getting the right talent in. So it's you know, I noticed a difference between when I went to the planning side of things, because it's a real specialist role that you're looking for the right type of people.
No, great stuff. No, perfect. Yeah, thanks very much for that, Chris. I say thanks. It was great to learn a quick insight into your role, and thanks very much for your time.
No problem.
Cheers, Chris.
Bye.